Hello, everyone. This is the Spy Show. When all else fails, the Spy Show will prevail. We've tried to do Halo. We've tried to do Oblivion tonight. It's not working. My computer isn't working very well. But the Spy Show must go on. So we're going to talk about things that are on my mind, things that might be on your mind, things that are probably in the general consciousness somewhere. And welcome to the show. If this is your first Spy Show, just so everyone knows, this is not news, but I'm going to say it's news, because it's news. It's my news. The news that I talk about, the news that goes on in my brain, the things that go on in and out, you know? And a couple things that have been on my mind recently. So, first thing that's on my brain tonight is Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance has come out for the PC. This is an old school game from the PlayStation 2 era. I own it on Switch, and I've been considering investing money into the Steam version. Why? Because PC has mods, and I don't know if there are mods yet, but there probably will be. And I'd like to play that game online as well, which is another functionality added by the Steam version. So the Oblivion Let's Play is going. The Oblivion Let's Play is fantastic. The only issue is that I used my main save for it. Using my main save for it was not a great idea. Because now I can't play it, and I want to play it. And recently, I have opened up, I've opened up Skyrim again. Typically, I'm not a very big Skyrim guy, as anyone on this channel would know, but the reason I opened Skyrim is I actually want to do a video about it. So, I want to do one of those big analysis videos, and I wanted to do that a long time ago. So, I don't know if you guys remember, anyone who may have watched the channel before, we did talk about a big project that was upcoming, and it was the Skyrim project. Well, what I had done is I had recorded 14 hours of gameplay, and I was planning to make a pretty long video, and, you know, I never really got finished with it. We had some real-life things go on, and that kind of, scaled, when you're scaling your issues, and things you gotta do. Real life comes first over everything, right? And but anyway, I figured I would go ahead and just talk about some of the things that are going on with my brain when it comes to Skyrim. So luckily I had actually started to write a script, right? And going back through it, the main thing that sticks out to me in my brain, the thing that I wrote down that I feel like is important to talk about is okay, all right. Pause. See, when I was writing all this stuff down, the main thing that caught my attention was conjuration. Well, the base game, the spells that are included, there's 9 summons. There are 6 elementals, 2 Dremora, and 1 familiar, right? You got 3 bound weapons, sword, battle axe, and bow, and 5 reanimate dead spells, which are brand new to the game's franchise, right? Because, I mean, while you had the Staff of Worms in Oblivion, you just didn't have reanimate actually as a thing, and you also have Soul Trap. Well, in Oblivion you have 6 bound armors, right? You have a shield as well. You have 5 bound weapons, and you have 20 summons. 7 of them are Daedra, 10 of them are undead, and 3 of them are elementals. And then the bound weapons, you have 2 blade, 2 blunt, and 1 bow. Now, going back and thinking about it all, right, and I wrote all this stuff down a long time ago, the thing that bothers me is the cutting of bound armor. And in Elder Scrolls Online, they seem to want to keep that going a little bit. Now, they have a spell called bound armor, but it's not the same, right? And bound armor seems to be something that I'm concerned about going forward in the franchise, because I'd like to see it again. Bound armaments was a way for magical classes to really use armor. And in Morrowind, they were even better than anything else because they used to fortify the skill in which they were used on. Like, so if you had heavy armor, it would fortify heavy armor because that's bound armor is Daedric, and the bound longsword would fortify your skill in Longblade by 10 points as well. And that, I think, is a little bit too broken. But then again, balance in single-player games, is that really important? And that's where I'm going to go leading on with this, is that balance in single-player games, is it important? Well, I don't think so. A mage should be broken in a single-player game, and realistically, it doesn't really need to balance out against a rogue or a warrior character. Your warrior character should be a little underpowered in comparison to a mage. I mean, it only makes sense. Magic is something that's a lot more powerful, right? But you should be able to take more hits. And balance in games, single-player games, doesn't really matter. It's not like you're going to be playing with a buddy and, you know, it's not like you're going to be playing with someone that you know and crushing them in, right? You're playing with yourself. You're playing, well, don't, correction. You're playing on your own, right? And who cares if you're one-shotting everything? You know, if you want to build something like that in a game and you want to one-shot through the entire area, go at it. What's the harm in the game? I mean, realistically, you're only hurting your own experience. It's not the game. And it's not really the fault, I don't think developers need to worry about, you know, balance in single-player games. It doesn't really matter. Playstyle should be a little bit unbalanced. I mean, honestly, you know, some things should be balanced. A little. Not a lot. We don't need to worry about it. Mages should be able to fireball the main last boss and kill him. And I don't see anyone who's hurt by that except the player. And that's of their own volition. Which is a choice you'll make, right? Another thing I'd like to talk about is NPCs in video games. NPCs used to be able to be killed in Morrowind. You could kill anyone. Recently, I've started up another Let's Play of Morrowind for myself, and I've gone ahead and just tore my way through, honestly. Everyone who stands in my way dies, and I take their items. And that's of my own choice. Now, I'm sure I've already destroyed the Mages Guild, which means that I can't even do the Mages Guild, and I'm House Redoran, and I'm a mage character, which kind of locks me out of a lot of magical items and magical spells, but that's okay. I made that choice. I wanted the items now, and I didn't want to do the quest chains for them. So I went ahead and massacred the Mages Guild and got my items for it. That's a choice I made. Who's hurting that? Well, no one really but me, right? Because now I can't play that, but is that really a harm? Or is that a feature, in a way? You know, how many games do you guys play where you actually do 2 playthroughs anymore? Not very often do I do multiple playthroughs of a game in various different ways. I mean, you know, not with the newer games at least. You know, you used to play a game like Morrowind multiple times because the story locked you out of other story stuff. You know, you couldn't be the Archmage and also friendly with House Telvanni. They were rival factions. So that would lock you out in a way, and then you'd have to play the House Telvanni to actually see where it was going from. So I've recently tried to stop smoking. That's an accomplishment for me, I think. And I've jumped onto the vaping train once more in my life. When I was 18, it was legal. And so, you know, I was enjoying it back then. And now I'm a bit older and it's legal again for me and I'm enjoying it. So, you know, I'm having, you know, this vape that I have, and I bought a Voopoo Drag 3 and I'm happy with it. I'm genuinely happy with it. The thing is, though, it's harder to stop smoking than you might realize for a lot of people. And I recommend most people don't even start smoking in general. But, I mean, I smoked for a long time, and a lot of people did. Especially in the area I live, you know, smoking is kind of just part of the area, especially in a rural area. But it is wonderful to stop smoking. I already feel better in life, just generally. And I've noticed an increase in my, you know, want to do things. And that's kind of just a little bit of a PSA, I guess, for everyone in the middle of this. If you're smoking, I was smoking for a long time, and you know, I recommend quitting. And I'm not done. You know, I'm not fully done yet. It's just, I just really, I'm happier to have been making the progress towards quitting. And that matters a lot to me. More than anything is the progress towards quitting. It's fantastic. And it's nice. And like I said, I feel better. And overall, you know, I'm happier not having to spend just a ton of money on smokes every day. So going forward with the channel has been fantastic, really. You know, I've been really enjoying this new change up that we've been doing, you know, going around and doing more stuff around the along the lines of let's plays and short plays and stuff like that. And I'd like to keep branching out more and more. You know, and branching out has always been something that we've always been interested in here at SpyPie Gaming, me and Jack. But typically we don't you know, we get a little bit anxious when it comes to branching out, right? Because we worry about the, or at least I do. I don't know about Jack, but I worry about, you know, doing it right. Because I know that you guys want to see things around Elder Scrolls Online, or at least the majority of the people who signed on early days want to see Elder Scrolls Online videos. And those are still coming. That's the thing. We still plan to do Elder Scrolls Online content. That is like our home game. And I'm just happy that I'm able to branch out into other games that we've talked about on the channel. Like Halo, I don't know if we've talked about on the channel, but it's something that I am passionate about. It's a game that I enjoy. And it's also good to start playing Oblivion. And I've been thinking about other games I'd like to add into the mix here. The issue is, most of the issue is recording. We've been having some real issues with, I've been having issues with recording. Recently, I've just been having a ton of issues, and I'm not sure what's going on, really. So, I'm gonna have to figure that out, and I might have to start using OBS. I don't know if anyone knows about OBS. It's a kind of a different software, and I've been thinking about utilizing it, but I'm not sure as to what I'm doing with it yet. However, I do want to branch out into streaming as well, and I'm not sure exactly what kind of stream I'd like to do. Probably more of a chilled, laid-back, playing games type of thing, but if anyone's interested in that, you know, leave a comment down below. I don't know exactly where I'd want to stream or how I'd want to stream, but that is something that is, it's an interest to me, for sure. So ever since I started playing Morrowind again, No Man's Sky dropped off the face of the earth for me. Morrowind's one of those games that when it sucks me in completely. And I don't really have much time outside of the YouTube channel specifically to play games as much as I used to, at least, you know. Because now I like to record things when I play. And so, you know, I'm sitting around and I realized the other night that I had played Morrowind for good 14 hours. And just straight. And I hadn't stopped to eat, I hadn't stopped to drink, hadn't did nothing. Just stayed put, and I had Trailer Park Boys on while I was playing. And, you know, I'm laughing laughing, and then, you know, we were just sitting here playing Morrowind, and that's a wonderful experience. You know, 2 monitors, guys. It's wonderful. If you don't have 2 monitors, invest in a second monitor. If you can, I recommend it. Because I'm over here watching, you know, Netflix and stuff while I'm playing games. And it's, I don't know. It dilutes the experience a little bit whenever you do it, though. Sometimes I like to play games just playing the game, right? But when you're playing a single-player game, especially a game you've already played a lot, sometimes it can get kind of boring to read the same text, do the same things that you've already done. So recently, you know, I've been playing Morrowind, and I'm just setting up this character, right? I'm setting up my character, and I'm setting up the character the way that I normally do. You know, I'm preparing for long journeys. I've gotten my gear settled out. I've already decided what I'm wearing. I'm starting enchanting, and that's a long process, especially if you're using alchemy to do it as well. And since it's a long process to really gear out, you know, you just watch something over on the side while you're doing it. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Just don't Alt-Tab with Morrowind open, because it will break. All Bethesda games do that, by the way. If you Alt-Tab, or at least when I Alt-Tab, you have a pretty high chance of whatever game you're playing. Just, if it's a Bethesda game, it'll crash. It'll crash, especially on PC. I don't know how many people here are PC versus, you know, console stuff. Me and Jack always talk about this, the difference between PC gaming and Xbox and PlayStation 5, you know, stuff like that. I think PC gaming is just normal to me. You know, sometimes I've had Jack say some things that make me question uh, exactly where I'm going with the PC gaming lifestyle, right? Because he talks about things that you can do on consoles now, and it's funny because a lot of the information I have on consoles is a little bit outdated because I haven't played on a console in a very long time. However, PC gaming is where I'm comfortable. It's what I'm used to. It's what I've grown up with, really. And this is where I'm happy on PC. I don't ever see myself really becoming a console guy. However, I do want to actually record some Switch gameplay. And I've been playing a lot of BDSP. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, which is the remakes from the from Pearl and Diamond back on the DS. And I don't know how I feel about that game. BDSP has been, I'm going to call it that going forward on it, just make it a bit easier. BDSP is it's a remake of the games I never played, but I don't know. You know, it's pretty faithful remake, and but we saw how that went with WoW Classic, didn't we? You know, I mean, WoW Classic wasn't exactly a faithful remake, but because there was a couple different things, right? And a couple different things means that it's not truly faithful, right? But it is at least mostly. But with the updated graphics of BDSP and with WoW Classic, whenever they remake a game, especially one that we remember from years ago, there's a lot of disconnect. Remade games or remakes, remasters, whatever you want to call it, there's a fundamental line where you're never really going to capture what people felt when they first played it, are you? And we saw that with San Andreas when it got remade recently, is that if you don't do it right, you're never gonna rekindle it. And people are gonna be upset about it. And I don't think that in any way can you actually remake an experience for someone. Especially with WoW. I mean, I didn't play back in WoW Classic, but I imagine you can't really recreate it. It's been 15 at that time, 15 years. And that's a long time. That's a very long time to remember how it was truly. Right? Because you're never going to really remember it fully. I mean, you might remember 90% of what was going on. But do you remember the intricacies? Right? And at what point do you remember things wrong? Because we all have faulty memories. You know, let's be honest. We all have faulty memories. And you might remember WoW when it first came out, and you might remember items and quests and things that you were doing in different zones than you remember them being in, or different things you remember them being near. With Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, people have been playing those games still. I mean, people still play Pokemon games. No matter what game it is, people play it. And if it's a Pokemon game, it's gonna be in people's collective for a very long time. However, like, some people don't really remember what it was like still. And I never played it, but that's the thing, is like after a couple years, you know, your minds start to get a little bit hazy on the details, right? And so at a certain level, is it even worth doing a faithful remake if no one can really remember what it was like back then when they first played it? I mean, nostalgia goggles are real. And at a certain point, I think it's better, and I think it's probably better if instead of making a faithful remake, they just made a new game, right? Remakes are fun. I enjoy remakes, but I want something new. And I want something with better systems behind it than what you've given me before. It doesn't take a whole lot, I don't imagine, to port numbers over, right? Because that's all it is. You're just porting over the code over here. And I don't imagine it's super difficult. I imagine the modeling and the fixing of small little breaks in the code are more difficult than even porting it over, right? So you port over the code, And from there, you basically got the game. I mean, you see people do this with Unity Engine where they port over stuff like, Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time. Does that make them better? Really? I mean, because I think I would rather just have a new game of the, in the Zelda line. And maybe it'd be better if instead of doing WoW Classic, they just came out with Season of Mastery. Season of Mastery, from what I've heard, though, is also kind of right? But that's the thing is that I think at a certain point, you can't recreate what someone remembers because people won't always remember things as they think they do. And remaking something from 10, 15 years ago is going to prove to be kind of a situation, right? Because some people won't like it, right? Most people who play the modern versions won't like it or won't enjoy it as much. The people who never played it, they might get a kick out of it. But that's really your major audience, that and nostalgia. And nostalgia can only carry you so long, especially when games are changing every day. We see new mechanics, new things, new development kits, things that people are using to make these games. And it's wonderful. So maybe what we should really be asking for instead of remakes is updated versions of what we remember. Maybe that would be better. Or maybe it'd be better just to ask for a new game in the vein of the old style. Because old style gaming is, it's old now. And no one keeps updating it. No one keeps putting out new content for it. And no one keeps making games for them. So I think it's time that old gamers, people who like old games specifically, instead of asking for remakes, ask for new games in that vein. And I think companies should start delivering it. Although I'm sure it will be a profit loss in comparison to what they make now. But I think that it wouldn't be very hard to make games in the old style. I mean, it's the fundamentals, right? The things that started the gaming out. At this point, they spend hours and hours molding, a single armor piece to be put on your character in the transmog, or the or wherever, the cash shop, right? They put all these items in. But what if they just spent time making another Morrowind game, right? I mean, how long do you think it would take? I don't think it would take nearly as long as we think it would. And I don't think it would cost nearly the same amount as we think it would. Or at least game developers are going to tell us it will. Hell, I actually think that text-based chat is better than... I think text-based chat is better than the alternative, where you're listening. I like text-based chat because you can fill the page with information. Right? And not only that, but you can use keywords and things such as that to just give the player a full context as to what's going on. Something that map markers have decided to take over for. And if you look at Skyrim, right, you don't really get a full quest log. Right? Your quest log is like 3 sentences, maybe 2, right? Morrowind, nah, they'd give you a whole page. And it was a long page too, and some of them would even spill over to the next page. These quests were big quests, and they gave you directions. You can't do that with voice. You got to have someone record all those lines. And I don't think most companies want to spend that money. So imagine if you made a Morrowind 2, right? I'm going to call it that, but you know what I mean when I say that. Not necessarily Morrowind 2, but a game like Morrowind. You wouldn't have to pay for a bunch of voice actors. You might not even have to pay for that many at all. Maybe 2 or 3. I mean, Morrowind didn't even have that. I don't even think I had that many. Bethesda has certain people that have been doing these recordings forever on their games, and they could just have these guys, record the ambient talking, and otherwise in game it's text based when you talk to someone. And that would cut a good a lot out of the budget. And then imagine the thing is that, out of all that, they don't really have to make the game that large, right? I mean, acrobatics and athletics basically meant that you were locked down into place for quite a while. You weren't moving very fast until later game. So, if they wanted to, I think Bethesda could make a Morrowind game for considerably cheaper than they make a Elder Scrolls 6 in an exceedingly faster time. And we could be playing it right now. And that would appease both audiences. I think that would appease both audiences. I think most audiences who play Bethesda games now are mostly the Skyrim people. And I understand that they have a majority now. But I do think that I think the old people, the people who wanted to play Daggerfall, the people who liked Morrowind, the people who even liked Oblivion, I think those games have a style and they should be respected, and that people should get that kind of content as well. And I don't think it would be very hard for Bethesda to do that. I mean, they could easily do it, I think. And I don't think it would take very long, and I would enjoy it. Alright, everyone, this has been the end of the Spy Show. Like I said, I couldn't get any of my recording stuff to work today, so this is what you get, and the Spy Show is here. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. In the background, I'm sure you all will see, is that I'm going to just keep playing a bunch of stupid things. Alright, well, I'll see y'all later. Bye!